Hey guys, welcome back to Sarah Katie Reads. I thought today I would do the 25 bookish facts tag because that sounded fun, and I know it's been floating around for a while, and I certainly wasn't tagged since I'm still really very new to BookTube. Even though the channel has been up for a while, I had a long break, so I thought it'd be fun to do. So here we go. 1. I had trouble learning to read initially in the first grade and took special reading classes. And the closest thing we can figure is that I was just a perfectionist and I was afraid to fail. So once I got over that, it has been a beautiful relationship of love and books ever since. 2. I spent the majority of my elementary school recesses in the library reading, and my teachers were worried about me and even spoke to my parents about it at one point because they wanted me to get out and play more, and I just was not interested. I wanted to stay in the library and read. 3. I still very clearly remember my childhood library where we were very, very frequently going, and I associate being car sick with going to the library as a kid because I would get my stacks of books, we'd get in the car, and I would refuse to wait till we get home, and I get really bad motion sickness. So it never turned out very well, but I couldn't wait. I loved the library so much, and I loved getting all the books my heart desired. 4. When I was 11, I saved up all my money and bought my very own Encyclopedia of the Dog. This thing was my favorite book for quite a few years, and I pretty much had it memorized. I mean, it's starting to go yellow on the pages and on the cover, but still in pretty good condition for how much love this book got. And now it sits on the shelves for my kids. And because of this book, I can still pretty much name many dog breeds. I have this book to thank. I had it memorized. I loved this. Still love it. 5. Like many of you, I have my library card number memorized. 6. The Felicity books from American Girl were a huge influence in my childhood. I still have my Felicity doll, but those books, which I still have influenced my love for colonial American, early American history, an ongoing interest I have. And I've also been to Colonial Williamsburg, I think 3 different times now. It's one of my favorite vacation places. So thanks to those books, thanks to American Girl, my love for colonial American history and books about that period is alive and well. 7. I smell books. I love the smell of books, and it wasn't until fairly recently that I realized I wasn't alone in this, that people love the smell of books. 8. I typically cannot listen to audiobooks. My mind wanders. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. I like silence. I don't even listen to music that much, really, outside of car rides and whatnot. So audiobooks just typically don't work for me. 9. At this point in my life, most of my reading gets done at night. I stay up way too late past my bedtime reading, as my poor husband can attest. Just with kids and everything like that, it's when I have time. 10. I started and continue to organize 3.5 years ago my sci-fi and fantasy book club. We're still going strong, and it's one of the things I look forward to most every month. We read one sci-fi book, one fantasy book. Nobody's required to read both of them or even all of them. We just all have a good time getting together, discussing the books, going down any tangent that may take us, and we all bring food and drinks to share, and it's just a really good time. 11. My shelves. There's no real organization except sort of by genre. Things are grouped together, but I don't alphabetize. I don't have any sort of real or rigid structure. Mostly I just know where everything is. Works for me. Maybe one day I'll do it more structured, but now, not now. 12, I am really bad at following a TBR list. It doesn't usually work for me. I am a mood reader. 13, only recently have I come to grips with not finishing books. If I don't like it, I've had to work hard at giving myself permission to set it down and move on to something that perhaps captures my interest more. So many books, good books out there, and so little time. So if it doesn't capture me, I put it down. I usually give about maybe 100 pages, but more than that, if it hasn't got me by that point, I move on. 14, reading Rainbow was a huge influence in my childhood. 15, I actually have a difficult time remembering facts or details of what I've read once I've finished reading it, or pulling out, details or anything later on. Unless it's history or other nonfiction, I'm more easily able to retain information from those sorts of books. And 16, related to 15, I am working on becoming a more active reader because I do want to remember what I've read. So I've started sticky noting and even writing in the books and underlining things, particularly if it's a book I know I'm going to want to remember. So working on becoming a more active reader. 17, I usually have to read in silence. I am easily distracted by what's going on around me. So I don't usually even play music. Sometimes ambient music is okay. Actually, I just found a YouTube channel for the Monterey Bay Aquarium. They have a jellyfish cam, and they have super just chill, soothing music playing where you can really just turn it down as low as you want. And then you have the jellyfish floating on your screen, and it's really relaxing. So I can read to that. And sometimes I can read next to my husband on the couch when he's watching sports, because I can more easily tune those out than any other thing that he might have going on, like video games or other shows. 18, I usually have some sort of beverage going while I am reading. Tea or coffee, beer, wine, lemonade, just kind of depends on the time of year and how hot or not hot it is outside. 19, typically I prefer paperbacks because hardbacks are just more difficult to carry around, and I usually like to take a book with me wherever I go. 20, the sci-fi book that really got me started in the genre, I picked up from my middle school library. I forget if I was in 6th or 7th grade, but it was William SLEATOR's Interstellar Pig. And I still remember that book pretty well. It's one I've actually purchased several times throughout my adult life, but I always end up giving the copies away to younger family members or family friends, saying, read this, it's so fun, it's so good. So Interstellar Pig by William Gibson, if you haven't heard of it, you should look it up. It's a lot of fun. 21, I have a super hard time remembering to use my reading glasses. I have a better time remembering to use them when I'm using the computer for my eye strain. I forget exactly what it's called that I have, but my eyes are basically working themselves a lot harder than other people my age, so I will probably need bifocals a decade earlier than my peers. I've had these frames since I was 14, and I still love them. These ones are definitely newer, and they make me feel like I'm the 10th Doctor, so yes. 22. As I regularly go through my books and I cull my shelves, and I pretty much keep only my favorites or what I know that I'm going to want to reread at one point. Most of the things on my shelves are TBRs. It's kind of daunting, but that's okay. I also just like looking at them. They're so pretty. 23, at my 5th grade graduation, I received a little award, and on it said author and illustrator. And while that didn't end up happening, it still makes me really happy to think back on that and think that, my teachers then thought of me as an author and an illustrator. 24, I usually have 2 to 3 different books going at one time, and as long as they're different enough, different genres or whatever, it's not a problem for me. I can keep it keep them all straight, all the storylines straight. And I like having the variety. 25. In my heart of hearts, I still want to be a librarian, and hopefully as we get out of the baby years and the young kid years, and after our babies are big enough, maybe I can start looking into getting onto a path or figuring out schooling where maybe I can make that happen. I love literacy programs, helping people come to literacy, helping them find books that they love and speak to them. So it would be amazing if one day I could be a librarian and help do that as a career. Ooh, a bonus fact, because I just thought of this. As a kid, like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, I loved Reader's Digest and magazines. And my aunt had this, like, hundreds of back issues of Reader's Digest. So when we were visiting her, I would just, like, devour those things. And I don't know, is Reader's Digest still a thing? I don't know. But as a kid, I loved those. That's it. Those are the 25 bookish facts about me. And if you have made it this far, thank you for watching. That was fun. And I'll see you next time. Bye.